Now, is Medieval Spawn my figure of the year? Hey, what's happening, YouTubers? Back with the brand new action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the new McFarlane Toys Medieval Spawn, part of the Spawn line from McFarlane Toys. Now, I just got this in from Amazon, and thankfully I was able to get it during their sale. They had this listed for $20. The normal retail price is $30. So, shout outs to you, Amazon. Anyways, I've been looking forward to this figure ever since it was announced during the Winter Showcase. I know there was some rumors about, no, it's not a rumor, it was kind of confirmed like a year or so ago that Todd was going to do another Kickstarter for the Medieval Spawn. I don't think this is going to replace that. I think eventually they will do another Kickstarter. But enough about the speculating and contemplating. Let's take a look at the box art like we always do with the reviews. So I actually do appreciate the box art of the Spawn figures. You can see the artwork of Medieval Spawn right there and on the back. And just for some clarity, this isn't based off of Todd McFarlane's artwork of Spawn. I believe this is based off Bjorn Barron's artwork of Medieval Spawn. So that's why I'm inclined to think eventually we're going to get a Kickstarter one that's going to be based off Todd McFarlane's artwork. But that's enough about the box art. Let's go get Medieval Spawn out of the box. Alright, so here's Medieval Spawn out of the box. Let's take a look at his accessories first. So just like all McFarlane Toys figures, he comes with a base plate. And the thing I like about this one is just the imagery, like the Spawn logo. They've done it before with other properties that they have, like One Punch Man and even the Avatar stuff. Like, it just pops on these base plates. Ironically enough, though, the one that has the most figures from their toy line, the DC Multiverse, is just like a black font. It's just really bland. I wish they would update this just so it can pop out more, because when I see these on collector shelves, it just looks like a regular black base plate, whereas if you had this on there, I think it would stand out more. That's just my opinion. But by the way, we're going to chuck all of these, so good luck, Homer. So Medieval Spawn does come with two weapon accessories, and first one we'll take a look at is a sword, and unfortunately, if we look in closely, just like Redeemer's sword that came with him, it comes warped, which sucks, so I'm going to have to heat this up to straighten it out. But if you look in closely, you can see the different washes of silver in there, and you can see the sculpting work is pretty detailed, so this looks pretty cool. And then when you look at his mallet, the handle is also like warped a little, but not too bad. But you can see the Spawn logo, which is pretty sick right there. And you can see just the unique sculpting work, even with his weapon accessory. So they did a fantastic job with that. Now let's take a look at the figure itself. We'll get started with the head sculpt first. And at first glance, you could just see all the cool sculpting work on his helmet. Like, this looks freaking sick. You can see the different sculpting work on here and here as well. And just the finishing on it just looks amazing. I think they did an awesome job with sculpting that head sculpt. Damn, that looks badass. Now, when we take a look at the rest of the figure, that same level of attention to detail from the head sculpt goes through consistently with the rest of the figure. There's so many intricate sculpting works and unique patterns on this armor. It's freaking awesome. I think they did a fantastic job with all the sculpting work on here. It's freaking nuts. Now, I know there was some criticism and feedback at first glance when collectors saw this, saying it could have used a little bit more paint work on the silver parts. And to an extent, yeah, I do agree. But to me, it still looks awesome. And anyways, there's dope customizers out there that do awesome work with this stuff. Like, I think Custom Comics is one of them that does awesome custom works with Spawn figures. And I was looking at the cape on the back because I believe I was talking with Future Rick 97. Shout outs to him about, because he asked me about is it easy to remove the cape. Thankfully, for customizers out there, it's just attached to the back piece, so there's nothing overlapping. So all you have to do is just heat it up and remove it off and put a custom cloak or custom soft goods cape on there if you wanted to. But me, I suck at customizing, so I'm going to keep the stock one on there. Plus, it looks fine. It's not as heavy as other capes we've seen from their toys before, so it doesn't drape over in the back and make them lean back too much. So it looks good nonetheless. And just getting a closer look in, I just love that gold finish right here and the red finish, like the shiny finish right here looks nice. When I was comparing it to the box art of Bjorn Barron's artwork, though, I do understand collectors' feedback and criticism about not painting the silver parts right here. I do agree to that extent, but obviously we know there's budgets that to be had with toys being made, but I think they went all out in the sculpting work, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And one thing I did want to point out, I don't really like how at the knees here, this armor piece or whatever the hell it is kind of just laying like this. I wish it would have been a little bit more straightforward like that, or at least attach it onto the knee piece right here instead of having it with a boot, because now it just looks like a flap or it looks like a tongue of a shoe. that just sticks out. It would have been cooler if they would have just molded this with the knee pad or whatever the hell that piece is. All right, now let's take a look at Articulation. So he is a chunky figure and heavily armored, so it's going to be a little bit limited, but his head does move from side to side easily. Can look down a decent amount, I guess. Can't really look up much because he's being hindered by the back part of his helmet. He does have a shoulder joint in there, so it goes all around. Now, there is a bicep swivel in there, but the problem is it's limited because it's being hindered by his shoulder piece, which I understand. Damn. Yeah, you don't want to do it too much or else you might ruin the adhesive on there, or the glue might come off. He does have double jointed elbows, which actually get a decent range. There is a ball joint at the wrist, so you can move it all around and back and forth. Now, there is a diaphragm joint, which actually I was testing it out earlier. It does have a decent range for it being a big figure. Now, I know this isn't considered a mega figure, but still, you know what I'm saying, like a chunky figure. It still has a nice range. There is a ball joint at the hip, which actually really doesn't do much at the ball joint at the hip. He does have leg articulation, but it's being hindered by the skirt piece, so it is limited in that respects. It does have double jointed knees, which get a nice range, shockingly, for that big-ass boot on there. And, of course, he does have ankle articulation, ankle pivot. On here, it's more accessible, whereas here it's going to be limited just because, well, actually, no, you get more of a range. They create a huge gap here, so you can do that. So that's actually kind of cool to see. In years past, with other Spawn figures, it has been closed in, so it's limited. But in this case, it's pretty good. All right, now I'm just going to jump right into size comparisons. And first size comparison, here's Medieval Spawn sitting next to a couple of Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn variants. We have the Shadow of Spawn on the left and the regular Mortal Kombat 11 release Spawn on the right. Next size comparison, here's Medieval Spawn sitting next to a couple other Spawn variants from McFarlane Toys. We have She Spawn on the left and Gunslinger Spawn on the right. And damn, I never realized how tall this freaking Gunslinger Spawn is. And next size comparison, here's Medieval Spawn sitting next to more Spawn figures from McFarlane Toys. We have Ninja Spawn on the left and Plague on the right. And next size comparison, here's Medieval Spawn sitting next to the Todd McFarlane figure from the 90s. I think this was called Todd the Artist.
Look at that dude. That guy's a badass right here. Just big ass, and it's a lot of plastic.
And next size comparison, here's Medieval Spawn sitting next to a couple Gladiator-themed DC Multiverse figures from McFarlane Toys. We have the Gladiator Superman on the left and the Gladiator Batman on the right, which this is the matchup I wanted to see because I think for toy photography shots, these two make a badass shot. And, you know, I've said it before, this might be my DC Multiverse figure of the year. I know some of y'all think I'm tripping, but this is pretty badass. If you haven't picked it up yet, I highly recommend picking it up. Now time for a random ass size comparison that nobody asked for except for one special person out there, but I'm still keeping it within the McFarlane Toys brand. Here he is standing next to a couple of My Hero Academia figures. We have Deku, not Todoroki, and Ochako.
My shit in heart.
Alright, so my overall thoughts on this figure is, it's awesome. Now, is Medieval Spawn my figure of the year? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Now, some of y'all think I'm tripping out there, but here's some context. Growing up, I remember seeing these at KB Toys and thinking, whoa, who's this badass villain? I saw the other Spawn figures as well, but I noticed this one specifically because of the armor. So when McFarlane Toys back in like 2020 was announcing they're doing Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn, and then Todd announced this Kickstarter, the first thing people immediately thought is, are we going to get Medieval Spawn? So to finally see this come to fruition is dope. Now granted, this isn't the Kickstarter version. I'm sure, like I said, they're probably going to do one eventually. This is still a nice substitute, and it's badass, and it has all these dope details and sculpting work that you really can't comprehend like until you have it in hand. And at the $20 price point, which is what I paid for it, it's even bigger bang for your buck. But let me know what you think in the comments below. YouTubers will be picking this up. And like always, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.